one stock in particular, which is Gokul Reforms. It's foraying into the power space through a joint venture with GMDC. Joining us now is Praveen Khandelwal, who's Vice President Corporate Strategy at Gokul Reforms and Solvents Limited. Mr. Khandelwal, good to have you on NDTV Profit. Thank you for joining us. The foray into power, you're planning to set up an 80 megawatt thermal power plant with GMDC. Can you just run us through the basics? We understand 74% of the equity is going to be held by Gokul, but how much is held by the listed entity Gokul Reforms?
Actually, the composition is that 74% will be held by the Gokul Group and 26% will be held by GMDC.
When you say Gokul Group, what about the listed entity? How much stake does that have in this?
As far as the entity is concerned, Gokul Reforms and Solvent is holding 48%.
What is the rationale for the foray into power? What has prompted this move?
Actually, basically, this power project is to meet out our captive power requirements, because we are having the 4 manufacturing plants in India. Basically, it is a first step to meet out our captive power requirement, and the GMDC is also interested to meet out its power captive requirement for the same.
Yes. Okay, so it's essentially to meet the captive power requirement. So what's the stage 1, the step 1 project execution plan?
Actually, we have already acquired the land. We have already acquired the 61 hectare land, which is required near to Tadegeshwar district, Surat. So all the necessary approval has been taken, and the process is going on, and we are expecting the financial closure of this project up to the end of this year.
Okay, financial closure by the end of this year. What about the capacity of the plant? I want to revisit and get the details out of the way. You've got the land. What is the plant capacity you're planning to set up?
The total capacity of the plant is 80 megawatt. Out of which 55 megawatt is for the captive purpose for the GMDC and the Gokul Group. GMDC will share 20 megawatt, and the remaining 35 megawatt will be shared by the Gokul Group. And the balance 25 megawatt is for the sale to the GUVNL, Gujarat Urja Vikas Nigam Limited, and for the other parties.
Interesting. There will be a component of sales to other parties. Have you got a revenue projection on what you expect from sales to other parties? I'm sure you've got some goals or ballpark numbers you're working on.
Actually, the total revenue we are expecting is near about 190 to 200 crore per annum as a top line, what we are looking for.
But when will it start to flow in?
We are expecting that the plant I think should be operational up to the end of the FY13.
Fair enough. So, of course, long gestation project. Let's come back to your core business. What's going on there?
Actually, FY10 was a year for the consolidation for the Gokul Reforms and Solvent Limited, because we had started our new plant Haldia with the capacity of 1100 TPD at the eastern coast of India. So it is a very good plant, and having a logistical advantage in terms of proximity of the plant, proximity of the Haldia from Indonesia and Malaysia, from where we are procuring the crude palm oil. So apart from that, the plant is well connected with the port through a pipeline. It is just a 1.5 kilometer from the port, and basically whatever the goods we are producing there, we are supplying it to the northeast and eastern market, basically in northeast and West Bengal, Bihar and Odisha. So in terms of the logistical advantage, there are a lot of cost saving which we are driving from the Haldia in this year, because the plant is running on a very smoothly in this year. So we are expecting somewhere around 900 crore turnover from this plant. And apart from that, we have also increased our capacity at Gandhidham for refinery 400 TPD last year, and some other capex plan for increasing our mustard capacity, Kachi Ghani mustard capacity. Basically, we are setting up 200 TPD chillax plant at Siddhupur. Basically, chillax is a very new technology for the Kachi Ghani mustard oil, and very few companies are India is having that type of technology. Apart from that, we are also going for very aggressively in the castor business, we are increasing our castor seed processing capacity by 700 TPD, extraction capacity by 400 TPD, and the refining capacity by 200 TPD at our Gandhidham plant.
Okay.
Because Gujarat is a very strategic location for the castor, because out of the total production of this being is available in Gujarat only. So, and basically castor oil is also a very export item, because the castor oil there is a very highly demanded item in the Europe and USA. So proximity to the port location is also an advantage for us.
Okay.
So we are looking for the
yes, sir. It was good to understand the business dynamics around some of your expansion plans, but you know, there are a large number of them. So I just want to understand, including your foray into captive power generation, how are you funding it? How much cash do you have on the books? How much is coming through internal accruals? Are there any debt raising plans? And what is the quantum of debt, if any, you're looking to raise?
As far as the power project is concerned, we are looking for the debt equity ratio of the 70-30.
And the other projects, sir?
70% for other project which is going on, Haldia and Gandhidham expansion are already in place. So whatever the capacity we are increasing, that is for the Gandhidham castor and the Sidhpur for the mustard. The total project cost is 40 crore rupees, and 25 crore is being raised from the banks and financial institutions, and 15 crore from the internal accrual.
Mr. Khandelwal, thank you very much for joining us this morning. All the best with your expansion. Good to have you here on Profit.